Hello, game design students. This is video number 3 in the How to Make a 2D Platformer Game series here that I'm doing. The previous videos we did were all about how to create a tiled background and how to create a tile map in order to create a level that looks something like this. This video is going to be how to add a player sprite. Now, big thing is we might accidentally keep selecting the tile map object as we're going here, right? In our previous video, we made this tile map. And as you can see, every time I click anywhere on my layout, it selects the tile map. Now I could lock it up like I did with the background, but we're going to use layers to make things more manageable. So in this section here, it talks about layouts consisting of multiple layers in which you can group objects. You can think of a layer like a sheet of glass with things painted on it. And we can stack sheets of glass with different things painted on it to make it look like this big layered picture. And that's basically what we're doing here. So to manage our layers, we want to click the Layers tab, which is usually next to the project bar where we have our tile map bar. So let me show you here. It's in the bottom right as we go over. It's right here. So we had our tile map selected. We want to actually go to our layers now in our layout. I just want to deselect everything. Just have my layout here. Okay. And here it is. Okay. We want to right click in the layers bar to display a right click menu in which you can add a layer at the top. So as I go here, let me show you. It's in the right here. I have all this blank space. Let me right click in the blank space and add a layer at the top. I have this new layer. Layers are organized top to bottom, which means anything that's on the top is what shows up in the front and everything else is behind it. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. We want to name this layer the player layer, which is cool, I guess. We're going to name it player layer. And let's see if it wants us to name the other one. We'll want to click the lock icon next to layer 0, and they want us to rename it to platforms. So we're going to do that here. So I'm going to click layer 0. I'm going to right click it. I'm going to rename it and call it platforms. Okay, and I can lock it right there. It's locked up. We can't mess with it now. Okay, unless we come over here, as you see on the left side, and we unlock it. But I'm locking it up because I don't want to mess with it. So now anytime I click on my layout, I'm not selecting anything because I've locked up my tile map. And I've locked up my background. So now I can just edit stuff on top of them in my player layer. Pretty exciting. Big thing here, renaming helps keeping things clear. That is very chunky English there. Renaming helps to keep things clear, and you will be grateful to yourself when coming back to a project after months or even after days. You come back over the weekend and it's like, hey, I forgot what I named all my stuff. Well, here it is. Make sure to give your stuff, your layers names. Make sure to give your other things names. Now, right now, we just have our tiled background. Let me delete this other one. Okay. We have our tiled background on our tile map. We're only really going to have one of those, so we don't need to bother giving those another name. We can leave them as is for right now. But what we're going to add now, we do actually want to give it a pretty good name. So we renamed our layers. Awesome. But now we're going to add the player sprite. And this is an object that is going to represent our player's character in our game. It's going to have several animations. So it's going to be able to change shape when it's walking, change shape when it's jumping, all these sort of things. Now we're going to insert a new object. To do that, I just double click. And I'm going to double click at the start of my level here. And let's see. This time we want to insert a sprite. So I'm going to double click sprite. My mouse changes to this cross shape, and I'm just going to click down here to put my new sprite in there. Now, I'm done all that. I've clicked the sprite. It's opened up now this box that's our animations editor. So in our animations editor, we want to open in the toolbar the same way we opened our backgrounds. Let's see here. So we click open in the file. We need to go back out to our construct projects, go to PNG. And in this case, we're going to go to this players folder. And we have a few different colors, blue, green, gray, or red. Let's see what they look like. Yeah, red's looking pretty interesting. I think I might do red. Let's see which ones it wants us to select. It wants you to do blue, but it doesn't matter because they're all kind of the same. But we want to select player blue, walk 1, walk 2, and walk 3. So for me, it's going to be player red, which right here. Player red, walk 1, 2, and 3. And I can hold control to select more than one. So I'm going to open those up. And you'll see here it has some different frames of my guy walking. Pretty interesting. I've opened those. Now we need to set the origin. The origin is the center or hotspot of the object. In platformers, it's best to have the origin by the player's feet. This means if the animation changes height as it plays, they grow upwards rather than into the floor. Our object here is also going to be sitting on the ground, so we want its origin point to be as low as possible. So what we want to do here is click the origin point in our editor here, which is right here. And I'm going to go ahead and move my head back over to the right here, just so we can see as much as we can. We're going to click this origin point, and you'll notice our menu changes here a little bit. What we want to do is we want to right-click the origin, the line origin, and choose Quick Assign to the bottom. So we're going to right-click this. It's in the top left. Right-click origin, Quick Assign it to the bottom, and you'll notice this little dot that's right in the middle of our guy right now, this thing, it is going to change to the bottom, right in the bottom in the middle. Okay. It's a hassle to do this for each and every frame, but luckily there's another shortcut. In the image points pane to the left, right-click the line origin and click Apply to the whole animation. Because we have 3 frames, you'll notice as I click onto my next frame, now it's in the middle, and on this one it's in the middle, even though on the first one it's at the bottom. So I want to right-click, and I want to apply to the whole animation. So by clicking that, now all of my frames of animation are the same. And you'll notice if I click through these kind of quick, it kind of looks like my guy's walking, okay, which is what we want. That's going to be our first animation, is to make it look like our player is walking. So bingo, the origin should be set on every animation frame, which it is, we checked. All right, we're going to focus on the animations pane in the animation properties pane for a moment, which is right here, okay, animation and animation properties. We want to select animation 1 and make sure that the pane underneath is named animation properties. Boom, 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 bingo, bango, bongo. There, it's done. We're going to select animation 1 and make sure that the pane underneath is named. Yeah, I'm repeating myself. Long day. Okay. Let's rename animation 1 and instead name it walk. Remember, we want to give everything a name. We don't want to just leave it as animation. In this case, it's going to be walk because we are animating our character to look like he's walking. We can modify the name property or whatever. Okay. But if you want to see what the animation looks like with its current properties, you can right-click it in the animations pane on the top and select preview. So watch this. I'm going to right-click my walk. I'm going to preview it. And you see it went pretty quick. If I restart it, there he is. He's just walking. Now, I don't want it to just stop and just take one step. I want it to loop and keep going. So if you look in my animation properties, I have this loop box here. I'm going to click loop. And then I'm also going to click ping pong, which just means it goes back and forth. My animation will go back and forth. And you'll see why this looks a little bit nicer than just repeating. So I'm going to right-click it again, and I'm going to preview. And you'll look, he's just there walking, just taking his steps. Pretty cool. If I take off ping pong, and I right-click and preview, you see it's a little choppier. It just looks choppy. So we want to keep the ping pong on, so it'll just go back and forth. And it just looks a little smoother. He's just walking back and forth pretty nicely. And that's what all of this stuff is talking about. Awesome. Now, let's add another animation to our character. Right-click in the animations pane and select add animation. So we want him to walk, but we also want him to do some other things. So let's right-click and let's add animation. And now you'll notice it's totally blank again. We're going to have to load in some more character sprites. Okay. So we want to click the open icon, and this time we want to open the image player blue stand, but in our case, it's going to be player red stand or whatever color you chose. So we're going to open, and we want player red. We have a bunch of them here. Player red roll, that's kind of cool looking. Player red stand. Oh, this guy might not have one. That's interesting. He should. I don't know why he wouldn't. Oh, there it is. Player red stand. It's right there. I just kept going over the top of it. Player red stand, it's awesome. There it is. Now I want to make sure my origin point is at the bottom again. And because I only have one frame of animation, I don't really have to mess with doing it to every frame. Okay. So we've opened this new guy. We've set the origin point. Awesome. I want to rename this animation to idle. Now what idle means is that our character's not doing anything. If you've ever driven a car and it's idling, that means it's just moving. You don't really have to press the gas. It's just kind of going, okay? So this is when we're not pressing any buttons on the keyboard or on our controller. Our dude's just standing there. He's going to do the stand animation. As soon as we start to move, he's going to start doing the walking animation, okay? So here we are at the end. When we're done, we can close the animations editor by clicking the cross or the X in the top right corner, which we'll do right here. You'll notice our sprite is now inside of our layout, and we can zoom in on him, check him out. There he is, our little sprite, our little red guy. We can preview our current work and see our character is displaying its walking animation in the level. Interesting. So by default, he's walking. So let's press this play button. For the first time, we're going to open up our game so far. And here this dude is. He's just doing his spacewalk here in the middle of nowhere. Not falling, not touching anything, just walking animation, even though not pressing anything on the keyboard. So we have some stuff in place. It just needs a little bit more work. That's going to do it for this video on adding our sprite character. We're going to scroll up to the top. In the next video, we're going to add some behaviors to our sprite and to our tile map to make our guy be able to interact and be able to run around and jump and do all sorts of cool stuff. So check out the next video for that, and I'll see you there. Bye.